Sriracha. Sriracha. Give me the hot sauce.
Oh, yeah, we got Master Stinger on the board. Must be time for a brand new edition of Gimme the Hot Sauce. This is episode 29 coming at you. We're recording Tuesday night. It's May 18th as the NBA play-in tournament has begun with a real dud. The Indiana Pacers are rolling all over LaMelo Ball and the Charlotte Hornets. I don't wonder, what's Michael Jordan feeling about now, Stacey?
Well, I know he's probably punching the air right now, upset that Gordon Hayward is not,
he's
out
not
there playing. You know what? Listen, I never question people's injury. I don't know how severe his foot injury is, but he's been out an awful long time. And to not be able to come back for the playoff in a playoff game situation, I know it's not a typical playoff game, but it's still a playoff play-in game. And not being able to come out there and play, and just watching LaMelo Ball come back from a broken wrist.
Sure.
Who was supposed to keep him out the whole season, and he fought his way back out to get back on the court. A little disappointing.
Yeah, they could use his shooting. They're 20%, 6 for 29 from three.
Yeah, the Pacers are playing without Karis LeVert, who they found out earlier today would have to miss the game because of the COVID health and safety protocols, which could turn out to be a factor as we head into the NBA playoffs. Hopefully that won't be something that decides a playoff series down the road. As I mentioned, this is episode 29. We are back on the Nautilus Medical studio here. Last week, we took the show on the road to Saluto's Italian restaurant in Gurnee. We had a good time. The folks out there were so friendly, so receptive. The food was great, and we'll probably be back and visit them again this summer.
Well, they want us back. They've already said they want us back, and I think they want us back because I think the King and Whisper stayed after hours.
Oh, they ran up the bar tab, huh?
I guess the party continued.
It's like old times, right?
Hey, all I know is Saluto's had some good food. It was good atmosphere. A lot of people came out afterwards.
It was game time.
It was game time. We put our game faces on at the end, and we rocked the house.
The after-show stories will remain untold, I guess. We want to thank them for their hospitality. We also want to thank our great sponsors, Bubble Up. It's the Cloud Reimagined. Bubble Up, the new way to organize any kind of content all in one place. We always appreciate their support, and we use that service throughout the week to research our show and get ready for the various topics we're going to have. And, of course, it's NBA playoff time. Before we talk about that, we're going to talk about the end of the Chicago Bulls season. They finished 31-41. And Stacey, I guess they did say 1, 2, 3 Cancun because they had exit interviews the next morning. Arturas Karnisovas met the media, and they were gone. Everybody was anxious to get on vacation. Right?
Oh, my goodness. That was pretty quick. It was pretty quick. Listen, they had plus 8 wins more than they had the year before. I know it's just small increments, but it was something. It was positive. They were a much better offensive team than they were the year before. Offensive efficiency was much better. They got better defensively as the second half of the season came on. So there's a lot of positive things that came from this season, even though they didn't make it. And they should have made it. There's a lot of games they'll look back on and realize that they let get away from them. But at the same time, man, if you can't finish those games, you don't deserve to get in. I mean, 15-point, 16, 20-point leads, and you don't finish those games out, you don't deserve to play in the second half like that.
Hey, speaking of defense, former Bulls coach Jim Boylan is at this game, the Pacers Hornets game with his 2 daughters. You think he's making them slap the floor and get in a defensive stance?
Oh,
don't get him started
boost
now.
The asses, baby. Boost the asses. Punch the clock. Push-ups. I don't know. Is he the defensive coordinator for one of the teams? Is he like the Charlotte
team?
just
lives there. He lives in Indianapolis now.
Of course he lives in Indy, the Hoosier State.
I thought it was,
guy like Boylan?
I thought maybe he might be working with the Hornets or something because their defense is atrocious.
No, I know you had done some work with Portland at the beginning of the
season. see, y'all taking that the wrong way. I'm just saying I thought maybe he was coaching
to try to help things.
To help Charlotte, and Charlotte's really struggling right now defensively.
I think your inflection suggested it might have been the other way.
No, see, y'all try to come between. See, that's why the Beatles broke up. Yeah. See, there's always something.
Between you and Jim Boylan, is that a problem?
Listen, I always supported Jim Boylan. Jim Boylan, one of my favorite.
He's still running for office. You know? I mean, this guy is unbelievable.
I approve this message. I thought the elections were over.
I am Stacey King, and I approve this message. No, I've always been a fan of
Come on.
He can't even say.
I can't
He
say
can't
it.
even finish that sentence.
America, I'm lying. I'm lying. Okay, I'm sorry.
Hey, let's get back to this year's team, and obviously a lot of questions as they head into the offseason. Arturas Karnisovas, one of his quotes was that mediocrity will not be accepted. We're going to pursue every avenue, but that's what executives always say in a season that ends without making the playoffs. There are obvious needs on this team. There are some guys that are heading into free agency. Stacey, let's start with Lauri Markkanen. I don't see any scenario where he's back, not because he's a bad player, but because of the salary cap, because he's not a starter anymore on this team. He and his agent are going to want to find him a situation where he can play power forward, he can start, and he can be a big part of the offense.
Well, the door is not closed on Lauri because you got to remember, Mark, he's a restricted free agent.
Right.
So he can go out there and set the market. If the Bulls want to match it, they can. My philosophy, I'm just an armchair GM, okay? I mean, I slept in a Holiday Inn a couple of nights ago, so I think I can be a GM right now.
A little bit smarter.
Yeah,
now,
yeah, I'm a little bit smarter. So you can't let Lauri walk away for nothing. It was a former lottery pick. I mean, this kid is a starter in this league. And though he didn't start in the second half for the Bulls, he's a starter in this league. And he has the ability to be a very good player in this league. And you just don't want to lose him for nothing. If you can get in a situation where the Bulls feel comfortable with an offer that he may get, because he wanted like 90-something million, the same kind of contract that Isaac wanted. And the Bulls did the right thing. There's no way in the world you could do that, especially when he's a restricted free agent. Let him test the market. Let him see what he's worth. Like they did Zach. Zach went out there, got an offer sheet from Sacramento that was probably way under his value. That contract looks like that was a great contract for the Bulls to sign him, because now being an all-star, an elite player, he would be getting max dollars. So it's the same thing with Lauri. Lauri has to bet on himself, like Gimme did. Go somewhere, maybe get an offer sheet for 40, 50 million. Bulls may feel comfortable enough to match that and bring him back.
He's going to get more than 40, 50 million, though. He's 23 years old, a 7-footer, can shoot threes. And, you've seen this over and over again, the crazy contracts that are handed out. Some team is going to give him like 5 years for 90 million.
Well, you know what? That's what gets general managers fired too.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying Lowry's not worth 90 million, but it would be hard for me if I was a GM to offer that kind of contract to him, because based on the fact that he's hurt a lot, he doesn't play a full season, and then he disappears in stretches. When you're paying somebody $90 million, $100 million, that guy has to show up every night. That's an all-star caliber, salary. You expect that person every single night to show up. And Lauri has been he was inconsistent this year. I mean, a lot of it has to do, when he got hurt, that really killed his season. Because if you remember in the beginning of the year, he was hooping.
He was shooting
He
well.
was shooting the lights out of the basketball. And then he got hurt. And then once he got hurt, he kind of lost his confidence a little bit. Someone else was playing in front of him. The minutes weren't there. And then he went into a tailspin a little bit.
Stacey can't say this, but I'll say it. I thought the Bulls did Lauri dirty late in the year. One game after the trade, they benched him. And then Billy Donovan says, you're going to play small forward off the bench, chasing around quick 6'7" athletes. I thought that was just ridiculous to ask him to do that. And now, obviously, the Bulls can match. And if there's an offer that's in the range they're comfortable with, they might match. But if I'm Lowry's representative, I'm going to the Bulls and going, let my guy go. He obviously is not part of your future.
Well, I mean, he's going to say that, but, they like Lauri. Even though he didn't start him, they like Lauri. Lauri, there's not anyone at the college level that I see in the near future can do what he can do. A 7-footer that can shoot the basketball.
He's 23 years old.
He's 23 years old. And the problem with Lauri is Lauri, like 95% of his offense is a three-point shot, okay? As talented as he is, to not work on your game to expand it to more than just shooting threes, to be able to catch and move without the basketball, put it on the floor from, the three-point line, be able to get it off the glass, start the break, post up. There's ways that you can become a complete player. Lauri is not a complete player. Now, someone's going to grab Lauri and convince him and make him a complete player.
Maybe the Spurs.
And we're going to look back. If he's not here, we're going to look back and go, we had that guy. Yeah. And he just needed direction.
Like when watching Doug McDermott light up light up this playoff game.
He did average 40% from threes this year, which is his highest
career best, yeah.
But didn't see him as a $90 million player the last game of the season.
All it takes is one team, though.
Yeah, one team to like Sacramento. They've been known to do it.
But I like what Stacey said. We've seen that side of him being able to post players up. His second year in the league, he was averaging 18 a game. He was killing guys in the post. I don't see it anymore.
Every team in the league runs that 1-4, 1-5 pick and roll, and then they switch the guard onto the big. If you can't punish that small guard, Stacey, what are you doing?
It's a waste of time because you take away a definite matchup that you can exploit every single time down the floor. It doesn't matter who you run the pick and roll with. It could be, point guard 4 or 5. It could be a 2 guard 4 and 5. It doesn't matter. It could be a 1-2 switch. But when you don't roll that smaller person into the post and you're posting up at the 3-point line, you might as well just run a catch and shoot situation. You take away any kind of advantage you have offensively in those situations.
What happens if you run that pick and roll with Felicio?
Felicio!
We want to take this time on Gimme the Hot Sauce to say farewell to our friend Cristiano Felicio.
It's not over.
He's got $32 million to take with him back to Brazil and live the good life.
Listen, Felicio is going to be in the league.
Come on now. He's going to take the neck beard to another city.
Listen. He definitely got to cut off the chin strap beard. He looks like that. It's not a good look. But Felicio, I'm telling you what. Here we go. He's running for office again. No. He probably
new taxes.
Listen. Felicio, his first couple of years in the league showed very good promise. Okay?
He did.
He showed good footwork, good hands.
What about the time you tried to put your arm around him and help him become a better player?
Listen, I don't know if he could understand English because I was trying to tell him what to do, and he just kept saying, "See, yes, see," and I didn't know if he understood me. But obviously he didn't because it didn't help.
Now it's adios.
But
he's right though. That farewell video, there was some moments.
Oh yeah, you saw the farewell video?
One shining moment or two where
a fall down play.
No, I mean I remember we did those games.
One shining moment for Felicio.
Well, there was several, but I mean we did those
when he
games.
stole Dwayne Wade's rebound for the triple double.
Yeah, he did that too.
Wade was pissed too.
But he got up. He got some offensive putbacks.
I'm telling you, man, Felicio, y'all. Okay, we said, listen. We sometimes people forget. Okay. Felicio's first couple of years here, he showed a lot of promise. I remember saying they got to get this kid in the lineup a little bit more and play him. Okay, now
got Gar Foreman on line 1.
Somewhere down the line, he stopped working hard or what? I don't know. I don't know what it was. Came in maybe not in shape. After he got the contract, and then maybe just was down here. I don't know what happened to him because he did not look like the same player. I mean, listen, he came in and kind of robbed like with a stagecoach with a mask on guard. He
was wearing a mask before it was required.
Yeah, he held guard up. This is a stick up. Okay, but guard, listen, everybody blames Felicio for that contract.
No, I don't blame him.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I would have taken that contract.
Everybody would have taken that.
Anybody would have taken that contract. You can't blame that kid.
No.
He's been ridiculed. People have just piled on this kid. This kid came from a humble beginning. He was poor. Man, he didn't speak English when he first got here. You can't blame that kid for taking that money. He did what anybody and their mother would have done. I would have taken that contract. You would have taken it.
Absolutely.
Garwood, in that situation, what happened there is he was a restricted free agent. The Bulls were bidding against themselves basically when they signed that contract.
First day of free agency.
You could have let him go out there and get a contract.
Test the market.
But
he was like the first signing announced that day.
Yes. Yeah, that was kind of like the John Concat contract.
Yeah.
But the problem with that was that I think Gar was afraid because of the upside that people saw out of Felicio when he was playing. We're laughing. Mark, stop laughing. I'm being serious.
No, we could sign Kevin Durant. No, we got to lock down Felicio.
Hold it. No, but I think he showed enough. I'm just trying to get inside how this happened.
It's a scary place.
Okay, so Gar probably, because you remember Ashik. When Ashik had that same kind of situation.
And he went to Houston,
and he played a little bit, but he showed you promise when he was out there. When Joe got hurt, he got to play, and people were like, oh, my God. And then Houston put that situation as a restricted free agent and said, hey, you know what? we're going to offer him a big contract plus a poison pill at the end, and they're not going to be able to re-sign him. And I think Gar kind of, and I'm not speaking for Gar because I don't know what went through Gar's head, but in my opinion, because I was there when all this.
a long trip.
Wow. I was
first making his debut in episode 29.
Yeah, here he is coming to 29. But I believe that had something to do with Gar offering him that deal right out the box. So he would accept it and not go out and get a free agent
Good
contract.
Lord, don't lose Felicio.
Yeah, I think we've talked enough about the Bulls' greatest hits, all the things that Gar packs. But let's talk about...
I got to admit, I didn't think we'd be talking about Cristiano Felicio, but I brought it up. So
Felicio!
I think the point on our Zoom call this morning was to talk about some of their new work. What are they going to be doing this offseason? Where is this team going? Who are they going to go after? There's a few free agents, right?
Well, they have to decide if they're going to be an under-the-cap team or an over-the-cap team. And that's going to dramatically affect what they do.
Because the next year's class is where you want to be into next year's class.
So they might be better off not
Kyrie,
making a big move.
Yes, you want to get a serviceable player this year, if you can add them, that can strengthen your team in the area that you need to be strengthened in.
Okay.
But you don't want to really go all in this year when you got Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Durant,
Bradley
Beal.
Beal.
You got all these other guys up.
So what do you have to show those guys this year? You have to make the playoffs next year. What is it going to take so when the opportunity comes to get the superstar that you're talking about, they're going to come to Chicago?
Well, I mean, I think the number one thing is, and I said this on the air, is that people say, oh, well, the trade was a failure because they didn't make the playoffs. No, it wasn't, because they're not thinking short term here. AK and them are thinking long term. Because you got to remember, people tend to forget this. Okay, COVID wrecked everything. Okay, they had no summer league. They had no, they came in here and they basically had to take what was given to them. They signed one free agent and drafted, Patrick Williams. That's all the time they had to do. Pretty much everybody was already signed to teams and stuff like that when they came in. They came in so late. So to be able to get Garrett Temple, that was a good signing for them. Okay, so this summer is going to be totally different. They will be able from day one to get out and do what they need to do to strengthen this team. And so they inherited a lot of this talent that's on this team now. They didn't draft Lowry. They didn't draft, Denzel. They didn't draft any of these guys. This was what's on the table. So this is what we got to make good with right here. This is all we got. Let's see what we can do with it.
And doing some research for looking at the free agent class, a lot of people have fallen in love with Lonzo Ball because he improved his three-point shooting. He's a very creative passer, pretty good defensive player, has got good size at the point guard position. But if you look at the stats and match him up with Kobe White, they're almost identical. I mean, the numbers for this year are almost identical. And I noticed that AK, in his end-of-the-year Zoom session with reporters, said that Kobe showed progress when we put him back in the starting lineup. And he goes, look, around the NBA, all the point guards, all the top point guards are scorers. And there aren't that many traditional pass and play defense kind of guys anymore in the modern NBA. I think he was almost sending a message to his fan base that don't expect me to go out and pay $30 million for Mike Conley this year to try to win 10 more games next year. I think that, like you said, they may let Kobe try to grow in that position and keep their powder dry for next summer. Why
wouldn't you? I mean, again, you're setting yourself up. How many free agents are out there that you go, "Ooh, we got to get that guy"?
Right.
There's nobody out there right now. There are positional needs. There's point guards because obviously that was in a area the Bulls could use that. But there's really no one out there that blows your socks off.
Yeah, I mean, is Dennis Schroeder that much better than Kobe?
Come on. I mean, Schroeder's a offensive-minded point guard.
Right.
So you know what? I would. You got a lot invested in Kobe. I would stay with that. Give him a whole year, see if he progresses. Kobe's biggest thing, I believe, that I think he needs to work on this summer is his ball handling. That's number one. I think once he gets his ball handling down where he can attack from different angles, you look at some of the great point guards in this league, there's not a space on the floor like Damian Lillard can't get to where he needs to go. Mm-hmm. There's not a space in the floor where Chris Paul can't get where he needs to go and then also be able to score or make the right read. Kobe's ball handling,
a little loose with the handles.
It's loose with the handles. I mean, he's a kid that he's like 20 years old. He never was challenged at North Carolina. He was only there for a year, and he really never was challenged. Like he's challenged in the NBA because guys read scouting reports. Okay, if the scouts say Kobe White's got shaky handles, we want to put ball pressure on him. What did you see all year long?
Right.
You saw guys picking him up as soon as he came in the game. So people scout and they know your strengths and weaknesses. So that's something that he has to work on. His shooting is fine. He's one of the best shooters on the team. When he gets his feet set and he squares up, it looks like it's going in every single time. The major area is ball handling and then understanding, being able to read plays when they're not there. So when you come off that pick and roll, that initial pick and roll, 1-4, 1-5 pick and pop, you got to know, okay, if Vooch is there, they're going to rotate quick. So that means I got to think a play ahead. Because if I come off that screen, I'm going to throw it back to Vooch. They're already in full rotation out to Vooch because he's such a good three-point shooter. Now, if that was Thaddeus Young or someone else who may not be a great three-point shooter, the rotations are not coming that fast. Now he can make that pass back to Thaddeus and play two-man game. But he's got to anticipate plays better at that point guard, and his eyes have to be up the floor. Because a lot of times, once he gets off that screen, his head is down. He's trying to score. He's got to get that head up, and he's got to be looking because the two big dogs need to eat. You got to find Zach LaVine, and you got to give Vooch the ball too. So those two guys have got to eat, and he's the third option.
We already said goodbye to Cristiano Felicio. Most likely Denzel Valentine, Ryan Arcidiacono will not be on this team. I don't think Sato's going to be back either. I think they'll probably buy him out at that guarantee he's got coming to him and move on as another point guard. Thaddeus Young is an interesting case because he's on the books for $14 million. Do you bring Thad Young back next year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
Thagic
Johnson. He had his best year as a Bull. Okay. Next year be year 15. He still can play. He's not a guy that just sits over there and waves towel. He's very
effective. His teammates love him too.
And his teammates love him. The coaching staff loves him. He's great for the young players because he's not one of these rah type of guys. It's like lead by example. I come to work every day. I come there at 8:00, first one in the gym. He's the last one to leave. That's a good role model for younger players. Like you don't just come in, when practice at 10:30, you coming in at, 10:25. You get in there early, get your lifting, get your treatment done. And that's just good role models for these young kids.
I just wanted to say in the last game, I did throw out the Thagic Johnson to Jim Paschke, the Bucks play, and he was like, "Ooh!" And then he did it. He kind of did Thagic Young, and then he said it, and then next you know, here comes Thagic down the court, classic Showtime with almost like a no look pass. So he made me look good, King.
He had a great year. He was flirting with triple doubles almost every night. It's too bad he didn't get one, but he was close on a number of occasions. One more thing on the Bulls before we move on. Patrick Williams in his Zoom session with reporters said that I want to be one of the greats in the league, which is a pretty bold statement for a 19-year-old rookie. In that game against Brooklyn, the final home game, he had a career-high 24 points. He was attacking the rim. He kind of gave you a taste of what maybe is to come. I know that the coaching staff, Arturis, and the front office are going to just be working with him like crazy. He said he's going to play Summer League, which I think is great, that a kid who started every game said, I want to play Summer League. I want to get better. I mean, the future looks really good for this kid.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the last two games he showed a side of himself that we hadn't seen. He's been teasing us with his ability, his athleticism all year long. I personally think, because I heard him talk to Casey Johnson in that interview, he's a passive person by nature.
Yeah.
He's comfortable being in the shadows. But when you're the number 4 pick, you got to come out into the light. You can't be hiding in the shadows. You got to come out. People expect things out of you when you're that high of a draft pick, okay? And this kid, in my opinion, I was right with Jimmy Butler when Jimmy Butler came in. I called Jimmy Butler's success. No one listened to me. He was only playing 8 minutes a game. They didn't listen to me. I said, this kid can play. Boom. Lo and behold. I was a Tony Snell fan. I told people about Tony Snell. Tony Snell just had a confidence problem. Tony Snell now has gotten himself together. Doug McDermott, same thing. They come here, they lose their confidence, they go somewhere else, and they play well. This kid here realizes now that, I'm better than just a defensive player. I can do other things. I can be a main cog on this team. And what I liked about Billy, this last 2 games with him, they did things with him they didn't do all year long. I've been hollering for him to get on the post. He's 6'9", 240 pounds. He's going up against smaller threes, I've been hollering for him to post. They finally put him in the post. And he looked very comfortable there. He was able to face his man up, being able to take his man off the bounce and jump over the top of him and score. He's able to get a rebound. I mean, he grabs a rebound one hand in traffic. Okay, something like MJ does. Grabs it one hand, comes down, and then starts to break with the ball. And he's weaving through people. And I'm just like, God, this kid's only 19. This kid has got a huge ceiling, dude, a huge ceiling.
The one thing you mentioned, the three guys, Butler, McDermott, and Snell, they played all 4 years in college. And I noticed a reoccurring theme with the Bulls lately. They take guys, like you said, 1 year, Patrick Williams, Kobe White, Laurie Markkinen.
That's what everybody does, though. They draft on potential.
Well, I mean, but at some point, maybe there's the confidence thing because they're young. I mean, it doesn't necessarily really resulted in wins for this organization.
A lot of times with these young kids coming in here, man, this is the first time they actually ever been coached. Because when they're that one and done kid in college, the coaches are so afraid to coach them. That they're afraid that they'll leave or they'll now you got the transfer portal, So, I mean, people are just escaping out of the portal. It's like, get to the chopper. And they all get into the portal. And everybody's leaving.
It's like Lost.
Yeah. It's like, so these kids are not getting coached unless they're going to like Coach K or, Roy Williams when they're in North Carolina. I don't know how much coaching Calipari does as far as like X's and O's, but he's pretty demanding of his players. Though I will give him that credit. He, if you're not better than this guy, I don't care if you're a McDonald's All-American. Okay, this guy right here who wasn't a McDonald's All-American, he might have been a Burger King All-American. I'm gonna put him in there. Okay, so I don't care. So I like that. I like you have to earn your position. But these kids coming in here for 1 year, they're not physically mature. Their bodies are not physically mature to come in here and play 72, 82 games. After about 30, because I went through it, I went 4 years. I mean, after about 29, 30 games, there was a gorilla on my back. Me and BJ used to sit and talk about in our room on the road. It's like, man, it's 40 games. Are you tired? Yeah, I'm tired. You just hit a wall.
Yeah.
And so these kids, Patrick Williams, who's not used to playing 30 minutes a night. Think about that. He was a sixth man at Florida State. He wasn't playing 30 minutes a night. He was coming off the bench. Yeah. So now you're putting him in the starting lineup. His expectations are changing. He sees Zach. He sees Vooch. He sees Kobe. He sees all these guys who he looks at and says, they're in front of me. They're veterans. I'm going to play behind those guys. And he's been content with that. He's been content with just laying around, pick and choose when he wants to go. That's not good enough for this team. Because if Patrick Williams played like he did in Brooklyn, we might be in the playoffs easily.
Yeah.
Seriously. Because that's one thing they were really, really missing is someone to complement Zach consistently. You thought it was Lowry, and it wasn't. Kobe was kind of up and down, but you needed consistency. You needed three guys to be consistent playing every night. We didn't have that.
Well, we mentioned the fact we're recording this on Tuesday evening. Indiana about to send Charlotte home for the summer, and they will play the loser of the 7-8 game, which is Boston against Washington for the 8th seed. And really, in the East, it doesn't even matter because those two teams are sacrificial lambs. They're going to get wiped off the floor by Philadelphia and Brooklyn, who are the top two seeds. But you look at the other series, they're kind of interesting, and I want to address this to Stinger. Your battling Milwaukee Bucks had the just worst drop imaginable, having to play Miami in the first round. If they survive that, then Brooklyn, then Philly. I mean, Miami's not a good matchup for the Bucks.
Steel sharpens steel, and I think and the thing is, it shouldn't matter. If the Milwaukee Bucks are going to make this run, it shouldn't matter who they're going to play. And I agree with you. But they don't have Jay Crowder, but they do have great shooters.
Or Oladipo.
They don't have Oladipo, but they have great shooters, and they have Bam Adebayo. And we haven't seen Jimmy Butler yet. He didn't play in any of those three games. We did hit 29 threes.
He was playing well late in the year, though.
Yeah. So it's I mean that's.
And Jimmy's a different force in the playoffs.
It's going to be a tough series.
Yeah.
And if their shooters, if Miami shooters can make shots, Duncan Robinson over the last few games has been on fire. Yeah. Okay. If he's making shots, Hero's starting to find his stroke. Mm-hmm. If those guys can make shots and Jimmy is orchestrating, the ball in his hands and creating for everybody and getting to the basket.
And Bam is blocking Giannis at the rim.
And Gordon Dragic. I mean, don't sleep on.
Yeah, because one thing Miami is going to do against Milwaukee is they're going to tighten the screws defensively. Mm-hmm. They are going to make Milwaukee work for everything. And that's going to be interesting to see guys like DiVincenzo.
They just have to make shots.
They're going to have to make shots because Giannis is going to give you the ball.
Yeah,
Giannis is going to give you the ball.
Yep.
Okay, because I'm getting bracketed in. I can't go nowhere. So you got to make this shot. And if those guys are not stepping up, making wide open jumpers, it's going to be a long series for the Bucks.
I'm watching this playoff game. There's like 4 minutes left. Indiana has 134 points. Can you imagine, Stacey, in your day, a team scoring 150 points in a playoff game?
Well, obviously there's no defense being played. Okay?
There's no defense at all.
And you know what? They're short. They're short some players too. I got to say, Charlotte's short some players. Okay?
Yeah, but 150 points in a playoff game.
You know what? They're at Indiana.
Have some pride.
The crowd is there.
The crowd is intimidating. Those
Jim Boylan's there.
Jim Boylan's there.
Boylan.
Yeah,
defensive stance, baby.
Yeah. Slapping the floor. Boost the asses. Let's go. Felicio.
What about the other series, first round in the East, Knicks, Hawks? That looks kind of interesting on paper, doesn't it, with Derrick Rose and the boys?
Hey, that is going to be a great series. I tell you what, Atlanta is kind of scary, okay, because they got so many weapons. They can score so many different ways. And if Trae Young gets going and Bogdanovich gets going, it's going to be a tough series. But I will say this, is that New York's defense is probably the best defense in the Eastern Conference.
And that defense will travel.
Exactly. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter where you're playing.
And they're starting the first 2 games in New York because New York's got home court. And, the one thing I've always said about Trae Young is when we had Chris Dunn, Chris Dunn is a physical guard, and he would beat the snot out of Trae Young. Trae Young had his worst games when Chris Dunn was guarding. I guarantee you, if we did our stats and looked at what was his point total, he did not have big games against, Chris Dunn. And so New York's going to play him physical. They're going to run different guys at him, and then you got to match up with what they do. Julius Randle is playing lights out. He looks like an all-NBA first-team player.
He's been turning in triple-doubles regularly.
Oh, man.
And Madison Square Garden, I don't know what the capacity will be.
They're saying they want to increase it to like 13,000.
That's going to be exciting. You've been to the Garden. That's going to elevate them just to have that crowd and Spike Lee and all the celebrities there. That's going to be some cool TV to see. People
are excited about the Knicks in New York now.
Yeah.
They're really excited about them.
Yeah.
Listen, Thibodeau, you knew Thibodeau was going to turn them around. Listen, you could have put a monkey in an astronaut suit if he could coach, and they won 5 more games than they did the year before. Yeah. People would have said he's coach of the year. Bubbles is the coach of the year. But Tibbs is a good coach, and he was going to turn them around. The culture's changed there, and the thing about New York. And the owner always is the guy who's always interfering.
James Dolan,
always interfering. There's always problems in the front office.
Charles Oakley,
throwing Charles Oakley out in handcuffs.
A fan,
yeah. So now he's taking a step back and he's saying, okay, I'm gonna let these guys, run the basketball operations, which the guy who used to be Tibbs' agent is running it.
Yeah.
So Tibbs has a rapport with that. With those guys. And so he's comfortable. He's comfortable. You got Worldwide West there. You're comfortable with the people in the front office. You trust them. And they're putting you in position to win. And you got a coach that demands guys be accountable. And they're playing hard.
We mentioned in the East, the play-in games really don't matter, but they do in the West, which will be played on Wednesday night.
Must watch.
Golden State against the Lakers, the 7-8 game, and the Lakers are dealing with health. LeBron tweaked that ankle again in the final game against the Pelicans. Anthony Davis, it seems he has a variety of ailments. I don't know if the Lakers are going to be able to march all the way through. They have the best talent, but they're not healthy.
There'll be some excuse. There's going to be some excuse. Oh, so-and-so's hurt. This guy's ankle. The dog ate my homework. The Martian snuck down and took my brain. There'll be some kind of excuse. Listen, you don't want to see Golden State in that first game. That's the one thing you did not want to see.
Steph Curry, baby.
Okay, and shooting travels too when it's Steph Curry. Okay, so and they're playing with house money. They're not supposed to win. There's no pressure on Golden State. Right. We're not even supposed to be here. Okay,
most improved team in the league.
We're not supposed to be here. So let's just go out there and play. Now the Lakers on the other end, they say pressure bursts pipes. Okay. Not pressure from LeBron, not pressure on Anthony Davis because they're all-stars. They've been in big games. But guys like Caruso, Kuzma, the guard Schroeder. Now you in a game now where it's win or really go home. Well, you get a second game, but it's win every game now.
There's a lot of pressure. There's no question about it. Although even if the Lakers lose that game, they'll probably mop up against Memphis or San Antonio.
I wouldn't. Hey, they got Jaren Jackson back. I wouldn't. I mean, they look good in the first half against Golden State, and then just for whatever reason, Steph Curry got hot again, and then that was it. But Memphis has been playing pretty good basketball in the second half. Yeah, it's not going to be no cakewalk.
How about the Clippers, the Nuggets, and Dallas all trying to lose the last weekend so they wouldn't have to be in the Lakers half of the bracket? I thought that was just insulting to basketball fans
if you're
everywhere.
scared by it, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the Clippers, they always talk big. They got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and we're going to have this big LA showdown, and we got our 2 stars to match their 2 stars. And then they're running away like a scared little kid.
That just goes to show you. Nobody really they fear the Lakers.
Yeah.
No matter how bad the Lakers played the last half of the season with all the injuries, teams were doing whatever they could to avoid them.
But you should want them early in the
That's what
playoffs.
I said.
Yeah,
You should get them now.
That's when you want them.
That's when you want to get them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to play them anyway because they're the defending champions. I want to knock them out. I want to be the first team to knock them out.
Yeah.
That's how I would be thinking if I was a team playing them.
Be careful what you wish for, because now they get Dallas, right?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what.
They took care of them in the bubble last year, but that was a whole different
Denver
set
to
of
me
circumstances.
I think Denver to me is the most scariest team in the Western Conference. I mean, you lose Jamal Murray, big part of what you do and your identity as the Denver Nuggets, and you haven't missed a beat.
13-5 without him on the stretch.
13-5 without him. There was one time they were like 10-1.
Yeah.
Like they didn't lose a game. So I'm telling you right now. And Jokic is the MVP. I don't care what nobody says.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to.
We heard that in the podcast, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Long time ago.
What's that?
I think there was one of us said that Jokic was the MVP.
That was me.
Stacey's co-opting all good ideas.
No, because somebody said Embiid. Somebody said it wasn't me because I said Embiid didn't play a lot of games.
Whispers, do you remember?
Okay.
His name starts with an S as far as his nickname.
Who?
Yeah, thank you.
Stinger?
Thank you.
He said what?
He said, "Mark my words, right now it will be Jokic."
That was after the Nuggets killed Milwaukee.
Yeah, that was. First of all,
And you both said,
pull the
who
tape,
cares
pull
what
the-
you think?
Pull
And
the
I'll
tape
say,
back.
don't
Pull the
care
tape back.
when.
I need to have the
I
tape.
was here.
Tim, we can't take your word for anything. You barely talk. Anyway,
He listens, though.
No,
He
you didn't
listens.
listen that day.
It's not Timmy listens, it's Timmy whispers.
Okay, how much? How much did he owe you? How much did you get for that?
It's just a Finsky.
We'll talk. We're gonna talk afterwards. You don't try to shoot down.
Hey,
on my
Mark
island.
just fessed up to it, too.
I said it. I said Jokic all year.
Hey, by the way, the Yankees wear pinstripe. They don't wear red.
I don't really care.
So,
It matches my shirt. Yeah,
The Gamecocks?
matches-
Did you get a discount on that hat?
It matches my
Did they give you a discount?
SC, my FC. Listen, haters come in different sizes and different looks, and you just look the same. You're a hater. You just hate no matter what. Okay, he's got blonde hair now. He blonde his tips.
A blonde tuft?
Yeah.
This is from outside working. I was out in the yard today.
And it turned blonde.
real work.
Yeah. So his Gene Katie comb over now is blonde.
Hey, Stace, I thought he was our new buddy Lee.
Buddy Lee. You know who Buddy Lee is? You ever seen Buddy Lee, the little dog?
Oh, yeah. Hey, you remember we were talking about
Susan ready to fight us. Don't talk about my man like that. She ain't ready to come over the table and hit me.
She'll
He's
stab
no
you with a
Buddy
pen.
Lee.
Susan, if you bring your ass over, I will get the pepper spray on you. I
That's
will
Bruce
spray.
Lee.
Yeah.
Remember we were talking about mowing lawns a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yeah.
Stinger had
Yeah.
like 3 truckloads of mulch dumped in his backyard.
9
He's
yards.
out there with his white beater shirt.
Oh,
he's got his Green Acres pitchfork.
I do. Hey.
He's throwing mulch all over the
Hey,
property.
my neighbor Patty was on a rider, and she looked over and she went.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like,
I wish everybody.
so I just went like that.
I
I said,
just-
yeah, you're right.
I wish everybody could have saw our little meeting today.
Yeah.
This dude comes out. He comes out in a white beater,
Oiled up.
Yeah, all oiled up. He had like an oil stain around the neckline.
Little
It
tomato
looked like,
sauce.
Yeah, little tomato sauce, like he was in the kitchen. I was like, "What in the world are you wearing?"
Hey, I went
like an
easy
extra from The
on
Sopranos,
you with
you
the
know?
Bulls.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
He was over there flexing. He's over there flexing, trying to show his traps, and there was none. There was no traps. He had like head and shoulders. Man. There was no neck. His head was like buried in his shoulders. He was like head and shoulders.
Luca Brasi.
Luca Brasi sleeps with the fishes.
That's right, baby.
You know what?
I'll make you an offer on fruits.
The best thing about this show is I always know when to go to break because there's nowhere to go after that.
There's nowhere to go.
We have already taken the show off the wall, but we're going to go even further off the wall when we return. Episode 29. Give me the hot sauce.
Saucy.
Episode 29 of Gimme the Hot Sauce. We referenced earlier the fact that the Bulls had their cars running outside the Advocate Center trying to get out of Dodge after falling short of the play-in game. But Stacey, that's a real thing, especially the last couple of weeks of a long NBA season. Normally it's 82 games, 72 this year because of the pandemic. But you're playing for 6 months with training camp and exhibition games. If you don't make the playoffs, and you know the last couple of weeks, all you're thinking about is when is this going to end?
There's this running joke in the NBA. You know, like when guys are not making the teams and not making the playoffs. I think it was like probably 10 years ago. There was I think it was Denver, and they had, Brian Shaw was the coach. And then guys like, Lawson and them went outside. There was the end of the season. And, you go out there and, getting ready to go after a timeout and you go 1, 2, 3, go team or, Nuggets or whatever. And they went out there and they circled up and it was like 1, 2, 3, Cancun. And it was heard. Everybody heard that. Like it made, and so that's the running joke now in the NBA when teams are not making the playoffs. They're trying to get up out of here quick so they can get on vacation, and 1, 2, 3 Cancun is the what everybody says.
Well, we know how competitive professional athletes are, and I think sometimes it even goes to what kind of summer vacations they can take. I know that you like to go to the islands to find some warm weather in the summertime.
Yes, I do.
Is that something that's kind of standard for players just want to decompress, unplug, and just get away from basketball for a few months?
Yeah, I mean that's what everybody does. I mean, you're 7, 8 months a year, the grind, the traveling. Most guys don't want to get on a plane right away. You want to take a couple of weeks off. I know I do. I don't want to get on a plane. I always normally wait like a month before I get on a plane. But guys want to, decompress a little bit before they get on the plane, and then, they'll get on a plane and they'll go all these exotic places and just get away, put the computers down, phones down, walk out there on the beach, with the sand in your toes.
You think LeBron stays off Twitter during those times, or do you think he's
got to promote the movie this summer?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or he's not scoring first guy? You think he's...
Well, one of the famous photos, of course, was the banana boat with Carmelo and Dwayne Wade. And
yeah, that's a man code violation. I'm just gonna throw that out there. That's a definite man code violation. Having 5 or 6 dudes.
Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, man, 5 or 6 guys on a banana boat.
Yeah,
that just
don't do it.
Well, Dwayne's wife was on there too, wasn't she?
Yeah, but that didn't count though. That didn't count. There still was
too many dudes.
There's too many dudes. It was like a Bob Evans.
With all the money those guys are making, they could have got another vehicle.
You could have put their wives in between them and had boy girl, but it was just dudes.
Like the
they're
Minnesota
all on the
Vikings, like the Vikings did a couple of seasons back.
When they were on a boat?
Yeah, remember they were on a boat.
No, I thought that was New York Giants.
No, that was the Vikings.
The Giants did too.
Yeah.
Oh, Giants. Yeah, that's right.
The Giants
went
a
year later.
Yeah, the Giants went on a boat. They went on a boat and they were looking like they were modeling. All of them had their shirts off, and there was nothing but dudes there, and they're all on the boat like posing with their shirts off.
No, the Vikings.
That's like Whispers or Stinger earlier today.
Yeah.
I was working in the yard, man. Posing.
This guy here, I just wish people would have saw that. I wish some of the things, I wish people could see behind the scenes. John is really funny. Seriously, you might not know it.
Thanks.
But behind the scenes,
Thanks, America.
If you're a regular listener to the show, you might not know it.
You might not know it. But John will send me videos. He harasses me with videos the all the time.
The wiffle ball
he'll send me the wiffle ball because he wants to strike me out, which will never happen.
Yeah.
So he wants to strike me out. He's supposed to be the world's greatest pitcher. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing was he sent me a video of him working out in the basement, in somebody's basement. I don't even know if it was his.
It's mine.
But he was in the basement. He's sweating. He's got it's like a Rocky video.
The speed bag.
And he's out there hitting a speed bag that was flat. It wasn't even, the bag wasn't even like a regular speed bag. It was flat, so it made it look like he was hitting it.
Did you
right
set up
on
a tripod, or did somebody shoot that for you?
No, he said you can see him walk over to the camera, like he fixed the camera, and then he'll walk back over there, and then he'll play Rocky music and send it to me.
You know why it looked deflated? Because it was a slab of meat.
Oh Jesus! It was not meat. Okay, it was a freaking. The bag had the air out of it, and the reason why the air was out of it so he could continue to hit it consistently. That's what you do. Yeah. So well, when it's big, when it's blown up, it's harder. Like see, I can do it. Okay, but with the flat bag, it's easier to hit. That's what. You know what? Okay, I'm telling you right now.
Another challenge.
Okay, another challenge. I'm telling you, I can hit the speed bag.
Susan, tell them about the time we had that party. And the young bucks came down. They wanted to learn how to hit the speed bag. Remember, we were
Southside wants no part of this.
Yeah,
no, I don't remember that. She said, "I'm sorry, honey. Sorry, I love you, but I don't remember that."
Need some Prevagen.
Now, if you want me to tell about the time you went down there and you were oiled up and you had your white beater shirt on, you went down into your little tub and you pulled out all your little toys. I remember that.
Hey, you keep this up, man. I got the wiffle ball and the bat in the car.
Listen,
let's go.
Listen, you know what?
Seriously, I'm tired.
And when he
of this.
sells that Ted Williams card for $5 million, then he's going to have the last laugh.
Exactly. That he stole from a neighbor. He stole from his neighbor. He tricked him.
Yeah.
He tricked him. Oh, you don't want that card. You know what? That card's not good. You know what? How about I give you?
Slide it into this protective case.
How about I give you a Squeaky Fromm card for that card there? So you traded a Squeaky Fromm baseball card for that. That card is worth $5 million. Wow, tricked him.
Hey, Timmy, what do you think of? We're gonna go rapid fire, Tim. What do you think of this dollar?
He's hijacked
bat
the show.
Full of beer.
Yeah, he hijacked it.
Myrtle Beach Pelicans are offering a $1 bat full of beer.
From my perspective, it's one of the greatest concessions I've ever heard of.
26 ounces of beer.
26
and
ounces.
A souvenir bat. That won't cause any problems, will it?
Well, the problem is going to be is when you try to drink, it'll be like a yard of beer. So you see those guys steady. They get going. Momentum picks up. They forget about gravity. Next thing you know, they're soaked, and they got to go get another one.
But how does the organization make any money on the 26 ounce beer for $1?
Because you get hungry.
Yeah.
Food sales jump, huh?
I tell you,
$10 hot dogs.
I tell you what, the minor leagues, they have to do whatever they can to make money. Okay. So when I was in Rockford, like we had all these little different promotions. Like after a game, if you paid $1, you could go shoot a free throw. $5 for a 3-point contest. Okay, and then we did it. We did a hot tub. We did a hot tub promotion where you throw these ducks in. You buy these ducks for like $1. You buy as many ducks as you want, and then you can throw them from the stands. And if you at the end of the year when you have the most ducks, you can win the hot tub. Okay, so that means it's a year-long promotion. So people are buying, hundreds of dollars worth of ducks to win that thing.
Terrible. Someone's going to jail after this story.
So all I'm going to say is that sometimes in these promotions, you got to read the fine print. You got to watch what you're doing. So anyway. We throw all these ducks in. People are buying ducks. Ducks are flying all over the place. Every game, flying all over the place. No one's winning. They haven't got the names or anybody. So at the end of the year, to win the hot tub, you gotta. If you threw 100 ducks in, and you had 100 ducks, you won. Okay. Well, you really weren't gonna win, Mark. You never were gonna win that. Okay. You could have had the most ducks thrown in. You could have had 100 ducks thrown in. The most. Someone's gonna have 101.
I want to know what the fine print was that you think people missed.
Well, it's Rockford.
Listen, first of all, it's
hey,
Rockford.
We love you, Rockford.
Hey, listen.
Home of porn stars and rock stars.
Yeah, listen, hey, you ain't lying. Cheap trick.
Yeah.
Amberlyn, Gingerlyn.
Amberlyn. Oh, Gingerlyn too?
They were sisters, I think.
Oh my goodness. Also
cousins.
He's got porn star cards in his
Yes, he ain't
basement.
lying. He collected porn cards
I don't know
or
about
magazines.
I don't know about his basement. Shanowski.
Hey.
I think they're in his bathroom.
The
My
magazines
basement's
are all
locked.
stuck together. You're trying to find like page 7. You got to pull all 6 pages with.
Okay. All right. Hey,
Way too much information.
I'd like to tell a quick story because the glass, I don't think they're glass, but the bat full of beer.
Yeah.
Timmy jogged my memory. When I used to play rugby, we used to have to shoot.
Oh, Jesus.
Little Molly.
shoot the boot. I don't know if you guys ever shoot the boot.
Oh, yes.
Okay, but the thing is, it's a skill because the boot, you can't just go like this because the beer just comes flying in your face. So you had to be able to twist. So when you perfected that, you were like at another level at a party. When you could shoot the boot and you knew exactly when to twist it so the beer would come trickling down the glass into your throat, you were cool.
Ooh, that sounded disgusting. It's like when it trickled down into your throat.
It's beer.
I know, but it's just the way you said it. It just sounded creepy. It just sounded like man code violation. It just.
You got to be careful when you're choosing your words. I was watching an interview today. They had Anthony Rizzo on because there's this big controversy what happened in the White Sox game, which we'll get to. But recently, Anthony Rizzo came on to pitch when the Cubs were getting blown out, and he struck out his buddy Freddie Freeman. Well, this was on this intentional talk on ESPN, and Kevin Millar was a funny guy. He's interviewing Rizzo, and he goes, I really admired your package on the mound. And I'm like, what?
Oh, wow.
He was talking about his assortment of pitches.
His pitches,
But you got to be careful with
I'm telling you. I listen. Hey, I said something earlier this year.
Open your mouth.
Open your mouth and take it. And then so let me just say this. Okay, America, listen to this. Okay, so. First of all, if you got a dirty mind and you watch porn, of course you think that's what it is. But us who don't watch porn, who are Christians,
pure hearts,
we don't think that way. Okay.
What podcast do you think you're on?
I'm just saying. Okay, it was open your mouth and take it because somebody got dunked on. Noah Vonleh dunked on someone, and that's what when you're playing street ball. Okay, I'm taking you to the hood right now, America. So when you're playing street ball and the guy's talking trash to you the whole day, and then you end the game on a dunk on him because he's been talking trash, so you say, "Open your mouth and take it, Felicio," and then he dunked it. Okay.
You know what? I prefer when you say "get up and get out of the way." So
no, you can't say that all the time.
Keep that one in your arsenal.
I do, but you know what? But I got some flack on Twitter about that because people are like, "Oh, he's talking," saying porn stuff. And it's like, first of all, why did your mind immediately go there? Like just because you might do those things doesn't mean
maybe they were from Rockford.
Oh, that's right.
Way to alienate
our good
fans.
folks in Rockford.
Okay, way to alienate our Rockford fans.
No lies in Rockford. We're not going to Rockford.
I'm going to Rockford. I love Rock City.
My wife's from Rockford.
There. I coached in Rockford. I love Rockford.
Yeah, but I mean, this podcast.
Yeah, we can't take the podcast there now.
Yes, we can. I still got my card. I don't know about y'all. Southside might be banned, but I can go there. Rockford. I love y'all.
So, what are some of the spots in Rockford?
State Street.
Here we go.
State Street, baby. State Street.
That was the whole segment last weekend.
State Street Station.
I've never been there.
I drove by it a couple times.
We had the patron ask. He rattled off like 10 places, remember?
Hey, listen.
Excalibur and
Listen,
Peyton's
you know what?
Place.
I was in the streets, man.
You were.
I was in the streets. I was 21, 22. I was downtown in the city, brother. I was visiting every single club that was out there. Sure was. I didn't care. I was having a blast. Oh, it was great to be a Chicago Bull when you're 22, 23 years old.
I bet.
Oh, man, memories.
Stacey, you're talking about minor league promotions. Sometimes major league teams make mistakes too. Everybody knows I grew up in Milwaukee. They used to have nickel beer night.
Awesome.
Oh. Nickel beer.
That's how you do it.
People ordering 20 of them at a time, drinking, throwing down 5, throwing them at other people in the crowd, and there were fist fights all over the stadium. Yeah,
Nickel
5-cent beer at a major league ballpark.
I don't think anybody could top Comiskey with the shower in center field.
Disco Demolition.
Disco Demolition, and Bill Beck has the best promotions. Yeah, game day. Many games my dad would drag us home
the old
early
Comiskey
because what was
an
going
interesting
on in that
place.
shower. Yep.
Really?
Heck yeah.
I wish I would have saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. I've been over that shower.
Good old days.
Oh, good old days.
It wasn't that kind of shower. Okay.
Oh,
It
okay.
turns into that shower.
Yeah.
After 5-cent beers.
5-cent beer? Yes.
Give me the rifles. A good segue here to go to a little bit of baseball. We referenced it earlier as we continue on rapid fire.
Like Sonny.
On Monday night, the White Sox just destroyed the Minnesota Twins. And the Minnesota Twins, who won the division last year, are effectively buried at the quarter pole of the baseball season. They're like 12 games out. They're done. But they beat up on the Twins, and what a lot of teams do in that situation, they bring in a position player to finish off the game, and they brought in Williams Astudillo, who's a very large man who's normally the designated hitter, and he was just lobbing ephus pitches in there at about 45 miles an hour. And he ran a count 3-0 to the Sox burly designated hitter, Yermin Mercedes. He ignored a 3-0 take sign, and he hit one of those 47-mile pitches over the center field wall, and it created this big controversy when it really should have been nothing. Stacey, to me, if you bring in a position player to pitch, you've already destroyed the integrity of the game, so why are you worried about a guy swinging and hitting a home run off of him?
I'm going to tell you what. Let me get up there in a 3-0 pitch and you throw a softball up there. I'm hitting it too.
It's like slow pitch softball.
Hey, man, I'm trying to get paid.
Yeah.
I mean, that home run counts as a home run. At the end of the year, it's not who threw it. It counts as a home run.
There's no askers by that one.
Exactly. Okay.
But one guy did have a problem with it, though, right?
Toni La Russa, the 76-year-old White Sox manager, apologized to the Minnesota Twins because he said what his young designated hitter Mercedes did was violated the sanctity of the game, and he said there will be consequences for Mercedes for his actions, for ignoring the take sign. And this just reinforces what so many people worried about, bringing back 76-year-old Toni La Russa as manager. Now, the White Sox have the best record in baseball. They have the best starting rotation in baseball. On the field, they're doing great. But, Stacey, you got to wonder about whether Toni La Russa can maintain morale in that clubhouse over a 162-game season if he's going to be that old school about everything.
Let me tell you something. America. I personally would hit the ball. But but I will say this. If he got the take sign from a coach, you got to do what you're told.
Right.
Okay, so he was wrong there. I still would have hit it, and I'll take the chances of the repercussions later. But he shouldn't have done it. Seriously, if the coach told him to take, if he had no signal whatsoever and they said swing away. But if they said don't swing, take the pitch, you got to take the pitch. Because who knows, the next one, that could have been a strike, and then you could have been able to hit a 3-1.
But he embarrassed his own player.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
He should have called him in his office and said something.
I think what he should have done is call the manager for the other team, said, hey, man, you got a young kid.
Yeah.
We gave him a take sign, didn't take that up. And then he should have said behind the scenes, hey, listen, don't do that again. If we give you a signal, don't blow us off.
Because Tim Anderson, his star shortstop, is one of the most, has most flair in his game. He'll flip the bat when he hits a home run. He likes to enjoy the game and celebrate when he does something good. And I'm just waiting for the time when Toni and Tim Anderson.
It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. Tim Anderson, he's established in this game. He's like a front runner for MVP damn near every year. So batting champion. You're not going to be able to, the game is supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And
play every damn day. You better have some fun.
I like the fact what, Trevor Bauer said early in the year when the kid from San Diego, Tatis, hit the home runs off of him.
Yep.
When he struck out Tatis, and he celebrated, no one got mad about it. And then when Tatis came and tattooed like 2 or 3 home runs after that, he was like, hey, man, he beat me. He got the best of me. Hey, he can do whatever he wants to do. I like that. You don't have to come back and get drilled in the face with the ball because someone celebrated. If you don't want someone celebrating, then strike him out. Get him out. I mean, that's the same thing in football and basketball. If you don't want people, celebrating you after, he's shooting a 3, Steph Curry doing his little dance after that, stop him.
Right.
Stop him. Don't be mad at him because he's doing that. I mean, he's killing you. Stop him. Don't sit there and go and bitch and moan about it. Like, oh, this is he's not, he's taking the sanctity of the game. Man, please stop him.
What would Southside's dad say?
I told you at the beginning of the season, Toni La Russa is on a short leash for me, and that's officially strike 1.
Wow.
Well, the White Sox are off to a great start this season. Hopefully they can carry this on into the playoffs and maybe another World Series championship. But I just see there's some potential for some real issues with young players who look at the game 100% differently than Toni La Russa does. So I think
Toni La Russa has guys on that bench, though, coachers that will are buffers
Hopefully,
between him, because
Yeah.
you have to. You got to have some young coaches that can relate to these players, and they're the good cop to the bad cop. And I'm sure, they probably went to, the hitter and told him, hey, look, man, you can't be blowing off signs. He's right.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that. No matter what the situation was, no matter how juicy that pitch looked. And she'll like it too. And he smashed it. I ain't gonna lie though. Yeah. I might have done it too.
Speaking of she'll like it too. Frank Thomas.
Oh wow.
Frank Thomas, the big hurt. Didn't he come out and say he had no problem with it?
Yeah. Well, when you put a position player on the mound,
that's the
you
key.
can throw out all those unwritten rules of baseball because you've already turned it into kind of a sideshow.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a kind of a comedy routine when the guy's lobbing the ball up there.
And those guys strike people out.
Yeah. Like Rizzo did.
Yeah, they strike people out. So listen. The only thing he did wrong was he swung when he shouldn't have. If if he was told by his coaches not to swing, don't swing. I mean, that's just like that's little league stuff. When you give a kid a take sign, 3-0, and then he swings and then ends up popping up, and it's like,
but why are you worried about signs when it's 15-4 too in the 8th?
Yeah, exactly.
Or 9th inning.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk to Toni about that?
I'll give him a call after we're done here. Hey, one other thing I want to talk about on the other side of town, same night as this all was going on with the controversy in Minneapolis, John Lester and Kyle Schwarber returned to Wrigley Field. And unfortunately, there wasn't a lot of fans there, but the ones that were there gave standing ovations to the guys. It was a really nice homecoming. They played a tribute video for Schwarber on Monday, and then on Tuesday, they were going to do the same thing for Lester. And Lester started the opening game, gave up 3 home runs in the game, unfortunately for him, and the Cubs went on to win the game. One of the funny things that happened during the game was Chris Bryant's been playing a lot of outfield this year, so he took some of those mini candy bars and he dropped them on the grass out in left field for his buddy Kyle Schwarber. So Schwarber said, I scooped them all up and I ate a Twix bar, and then the next inning I hit a home run. So they were having fun, and that's the way. That's the way it is a kid's game. Yeah. And these are two guys who are former teammates having a good time. And when the day was over, Cubs won the game. I believe it was 7-3, and everybody was happy. On both sides. John Lester, even though he lost the game, was happy he got the tribute from the fans. Remember, he spent like $47,000 to buy everybody a beer, on his way out of town. I thought that whole evening was handled so well. It's just a shame there weren't 40,000 people at Wrigley to salute Lester and Schwarber.
Yeah, man. COVID has really wrecked everything up. We didn't even really get a chance to send Neil Funk off the proper way because of COVID. And, hopefully next year that will be able to happen. Because he deserved to be able to go out, with the admiration of fans and
next year.
Yeah, hopefully
You're going to bring him in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, for a tribute. Yeah.
For a tribute. Yeah. Because we didn't get to do it this year. Yeah. And the tribute wouldn't have meant anything because there's nobody an empty arena. I would have stood up and gave him a standing ovation.
Are you going to let him call a quarter or something? Or are you going to
listen? That's not my call, John.
Okay. John's producing from here.
Yeah, he's a producer here. Listen,
hey, we had
hope
Johnny
they do.
Mack in the booth.
John McLaughlin? Yeah.
Johnny Mack, John McLaughlin, Jim Paskey, 33 years together, longer than Gorman or Heisen, I think.
Sure.
So we had Johnny Mack come in for a quarter, and it was.
How's Johnny doing?
He's great. He has a little bit of a balance issue, but other than that, man,
he was a guy that ran into his 70s. Yeah, he was always.
They told the story about going at the Forum. And speaking of the White Sox, Roland Heeman's daughter was a stage manager, and apparently she was a triathlete. And he did the open on the floor, and she said, "Okay, now we're going to run up. Chick Hearn, you've been to the Forum again." And so John took off because he was a runner, and Jim's behind him. And all of a sudden, they get to their seats, and the producer says, "Go!" And Jim's on the floor because he can't breathe.
You can't ask somebody to do that.
Yeah. So it was a sprint. See, but we used to tape our opens, so.
And that's our tribute to the Hall of Famer Jim Paskey.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good luck getting him on the show next week.
He won't be coming on this show.
He loves that. He loves that story. He loves that story.
You got to call 911.
But maybe they should have thought about maybe taping that segment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we would do. Because that was one of the main things. Like,
Don't run your talent up the stairs and then ask them to be good on the air.
Yeah.
And that happens now because all the announced positions are up top.
Yeah.
It's
And so King and I would have this little meeting, like, okay, when you come in, what bus you're going to be on, and it was like clockwork. He'd come off the bus, everybody would be waiting to go. We'd tape our open, It didn't matter if there was any players on the floor because and that way he could get comfortable because he had a 2.5 hour game to call.
Yeah.
And that was
but he had to do the hit in the pregame show and then run down the stairs.
Yeah, I'm seriously that's the worst. Because,
and then people think you're being rude when you can't sign their autograph because you got to get down to the open.
So you have to go all the way upstairs in certain arenas, and then they want you to come right back downstairs and do the open. Right. So I would be like, that's stupid. Like, because we're already up, we got to go up all these flights of stairs and then come back down. There's no elevators, so it's like stupid. So I'd always tell John, all right, once we get there, let's just shoot the open, because most of the guys are at lunch. All the people are eating lunch, okay? So John would have to round up everybody. So I'd come walking in. All right, John would be there at 5:30. He's like, all right, we're going to shoot the open at 5:35. Yeah. So when I would be getting there, I could tell people were pissed because they had to leave lunch to go do it. And I'd always
apple pie on the way out there.
And they, I always blame John. I'm like, yeah, it's our people in the truck, man. I really want you guys to finish your lunch.
Lunch is a competitive sport in the media.
Yeah, the lunch. I'm like, hey, man, I know how you feel. You know what? Aren't y'all union? Aren't y'all union? Yeah. Aren't you supposed to get a certain amount of lunch break? Take it up with the guys in the truck, guys. It's not my fault. It's not my fault, guys.
Yeah, and this, by the way, this did start our On the Down Low segment because you're getting some dirt on what goes on behind the broadcast. John, isn't that the truth, though? I mean, these guys, it is generally a union thing, but whether it is or not, they're going to want their time, and they're going to take advantage of that time.
Oh, you mean the crew?
Yeah, the crew. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, you have to get an hour and a 10-minute. And it started in Chicago because they took the bathrooms away from the truck. There used to be these bathrooms very close to the United Center, but the cheerleaders or somebody took the bathroom, so now they have to walk all the way to the press room, which is quite a little job.
It's a hall.
And we have some older crew members and stuff.
And I suggested astronaut diapers back like 5 years ago. But everybody just looked at me like I was crazy. Yep. Now they wish they'd invested in it. And then remember, we have, Dave Cello, who does the camera for.
He's great.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. Dave Cello got banned from coming to my little office, okay? I have a little office in the stadium. You've seen it, where we sit in there before the chapel,
game. Wasn't it?
Yes, and we kicked him out.
Bless me, Father, for I
I'm sorry. Get the hell out of here. You got to go. So we got him out of there, okay? So we took over the room. We remodeled it. The Bulls remodeled it for us. That's where we hang out.
Yeah.
So we allowed Cello to come to the bathroom. Said, all right, Cello. Right. Say, Stacey, can I go to the bathroom? It's too far to walk. All right, come on in, Cello. You can go to the bathroom.
This story's not going to end well.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I'm not sure that bathroom's that much closer than like 3 other bathrooms.
Well, I think he just came here to do it on purpose.
Yeah, that ain't right.
Yeah. So he comes down. He comes down. Comes use the bathroom. So I'm like, hey, number 1 and number 2.
This involves.
And he go. Oh, number one. I'm like, okay. I said it's number 1.
Now you there in the room?
Yeah, I'm in the room. We're all there. And Neil would go, don't let him use it. Get out of here, Cello. He didn't want to use it. So
like a man code.
It is a man code violation.
Yeah.
So he would go in the bathroom and he'd be in there for like 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, hey, it's taking too long for number 1. I'm banging on the door. Get out of there, Cello. Get out of there.
Number 5 by that time.
He's like, come on, Stacey, give me a couple more minutes. I'm like, no, get out of there. You lied to me. You're supposed to do number 1. So then he comes out. I'm like, courtesy flush, do something, because that room is hot. You got the heater on in there,
small room too.
and then it gets trapped in there, and it gets in your clothes like cologne.
No ventilation.
You walk out there smelling like So he doesn't do courtesy flush, and then he comes out and he's got a nice big smile on his face, and I'm like, dude, really? Like, our wives use this bathroom. Like, you could not do that somewhere else. So he got banned. So we started locking the door. We had the security lock the door. So he'd come to the door to try to get in, and the door would be locked when we leave, and they wouldn't let him in. Stacey give me the okay to come in. No, that special word that you're not allowed in the locker room.
There's pictures on the wall like the post office.
And then but another thing happened too. The reason we had to lock it up, not just Cello. Cello was cool.
I'm sure he appreciates giving his full name on the podcast.
Cello's cool. That's my boy. Cello's my man. Cello, if you're listening, don't let Mark come between us, baby. Okay? Don't let him come between us, because we established a friendship that goes beyond this, beyond the number 2 in my bathroom. So what happened, though, honestly, what happened to the bathroom? We had a bunch of people from the truck start coming in to the bathroom.
Who?
I'm not gonna call any names.
I never went to the bathroom.
No. We had people, camera guys, coming and using the bathroom, and then it became it started looking like a truck stop. Guys were peeing on the floor, not lifting up the toilet seat. People's wives were coming in there, and my wife would be like, "That's just disgusting in there." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I would get in and go see it, and it looked like a truck stop. And I'm like, "Oh, hell to the no! Y'all can't be coming in here. It's banned now. Nobody's coming in here now, so we got them banned."
Well, yeah, since this is on the down low, I mean, you go in the main bathroom in the press room, where they call it the media room, and that's where they serve the pregame meal. And there could be 100 people in there, and there's one bathroom for men, and there's 2 urinals and 1 stall. And I walked in there one day, and Mike Breen, who was elected to the Hall of Fame this week, is putting on his makeup, in the mirror in there with shitty lighting, and somebody pissing on the floor. So it's like, hey, you ain't in Manhattan anymore, Mike.
Yeah, it's like.
Hey, don't you think we could get another bathroom there?
That'd be nice.
Listen, I don't care about anybody else. Okay? All right, I'm just being honest.
But
when you come to the United Center, we got our room. Okay, that's our room. I lobby for that room. The great Steve Shanwald, because before we didn't have a room. Remember, we didn't have a room. The guys were in the press room. Yeah. And I went to Steve Shanwald. I said, "Hey, look, man." I said, "Can we get a room?" I said, "We need a place to chill," because sometimes we're there early, because I was doing the Court of Dream stuff sometimes, where you bring in sponsors, they get to play on the court. And so I was coaching teams, and I'd be there from like 12 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night. So I said, "Steve," I said, "Hey, man, you gotta get us a room, somewhere to chill." He said, "You guys don't have a room."
Yeah.
I go, no. I said, "But they give the little dog that does tricks, he got a room. The elephant got a room. Every act got a room."
So Steve decided to kick the chaplain out?
Yeah, because I asked the guy who's head of ops at the arena at the time. I'm not gonna give his name either.
No,
okay,
don't do that.
So I said, "Hey, is there a way we can get a room?" And he was like, "All the rooms are booked. All the rooms are, I said, "Every room in United Center is taken." He's like, "Yes." And then I'd actually walk down the thing, and I see, JoJo, the dancing dog. He'd have a little room.
Your room is number 6, I believe.
Yeah, we're number 6. But I would see Bubbles the monkey. He'd have a room. He'd have his own little room, and then me and Neil, we'd be sitting out there in the hallways, just standing on the hall.
Hey, it is quite a spectacle when you go in, and I know you've probably been in, and Tim, I know you've been. But the food comes from the chef.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He's got some drinks on the floor.
Yeah. Chef Mike.
Yeah. And, he's got his...
Shout out.
He's got
Chef Mike.
He's got the big chair. He's in the big leather chair.
Yes.
And Neil's in some fold-up chair, but there's always an extra couch. I could always come in. But the cool thing, too, is that it was also the barbershop. It was...
Yeah.
And he'd go in there, and Butler would be in there getting his hair cut, or D. Rose.
Yes.
I'm kind of hanging.
That's where you get the real information.
Yeah, I was like, man, this is cool. I'm like
That's
backstage.
on the down low.
I'm backstage talking ball.
Yes.
We
had some fun.
We're having some fun. King would lay out like his complaints.
No,
there's quite a few of them.
Come on now.
Quite a few of them.
Well, there was a few complaints, and then we'd go over the open again. And
it would be like literally to get into my room. It was like going to a club. Okay, you had to be on a list. If you came to the door,
I know. I tried to get by
the security. You get by the security, you're not on the list.
Yeah.
They're like, "I'm sorry, Mr. King's not seeing you. I'm sorry. You have to get back to it." And they wouldn't let him in.
Yeah,
they wouldn't let him in.
Certain individuals that I know of, I won't name nameless, did not get the friendly.
They did not get in the friends list. Sorry.
There wasn't a friendly reception.
They're arguing with the guy. Yeah. He knows me. He knows me. Stacey knows me. I just talked to him on the phone.
And the crazy thing is, like, we'd get off the wall in there a little bit with funk. And Weddington would come in, and the two of them, and then the King.
Chuck would be dancing in there.
Oh no, that wasn't allowed.
No, Chuck was never in there, but the funk was in there.
Yes.
And we'd get laughing and talking, and all of a sudden you open the door, and like the visiting team presser was like right there. So Popovich would be literally right there.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit. Yeah. There's stuff going on right now. We're in this room chilling, laughing. You open the door, and they're having a major press conference.
And then the room. I always like the room cold. Like, I like it cold. Even in the wintertime, I want it cold.
Yeah.
Okay?
Surprisingly.
Yeah. So I come in the room sometimes, and the thermostat is being controlled in the visitors' locker room. So every time I come in, it'd be like a sauna. And then, Neil be sweating, and I'm like, are y'all hot or is it just me? I'm looking at Neil. He's like melting like like Frosty the Snowman in Vegas at a Vegas party, a pool party. He's melting. Makeup's starting to come off and everything. And I'd always say, hey,
hair dye.
Yeah, hey, you're telling too many secrets on the down low. Okay, Stingers. Oh, code violation. Neil, if you're listening.
What are the chances Neil's listening?
Neil's listening. Neil listens to every show. I talk to him. And he doesn't appreciate your comment.
Well, then how about booty call night with Schwersky and Neil?
Booty call night.
When Schwersky's like, yeah, this girl keeps calling me at night, and Neil lays into him. Are you some kind of idiot? That's called a booty call. So, I mean, Stacey nearly fell off his chair, and I was like, is this for real?
Hey, man,
she wanted me to buy another.
Obviously, she's never seen Chuck dance.
Oh, man.
She wanted me to buy a second bottle of wine. I'm like, geez.
Wow. See,
man, we really are going on the down low.
America, this is privileged information.
Sorry, Chuckles.
So Timmy Whispers he was in there in this conversation. I didn't know he was recording it in his little mind. And he just hit the play button just now. After like 5 years, he brings it back up. And he did say that. That was funny, Tim. Way to go.
It was a classic.
It was a classic.
Man. Hey, before we get out of here, we want to send along our congratulations to the Basketball Hall of Fame class of 2021, which was announced over the weekend. Some of the big names, Chris Bosh, Chris Webber, Ben Wallace,
Toni Kukoc.
That's what I wanted to lead up to is our friend Toni Kukoc, who definitely deserved to be in there. He could be put in the Basketball Hall of Fame just for what he accomplished on the international stage. I mean, he was playing professionally since he was a teenager, did so many great things in terms of international competitions, played in the Olympics, and, of course, part of the Bulls' second three-peat team. And I know you were only teammates with Toni for one season. You got any stories about Toni? You must have been really quiet his first year there.
Yeah, Toni was real quiet, but Toni had a confidence in his game, though. I mean, Michael and Scotty, really put him through the ringers.
Yeah, they sure did.
And he didn't waver. He didn't change the way he plays. I said this the other night on air. If Toni Kukoc would have played on any other team besides the Bulls, he would be considered a top 50 greatest players. Okay, he's a guy that could play in this league right now. And I said who he reminds me of. He reminds me of LaMelo Ball. Mm-hmm. He would be a big point guard. He would play point guard in this league.
The waiter.
He could set you up. He was a beautiful passer. The difference between him and Ball, though, is he's taller, by 3 inches, and he's a better scorer. I mean, he legitimately could score.
I have a great story, if I could tell it. He played in Milwaukee, and him and Andrew Bogut were just a force together, like he's saying. But we were flying to New York, and the engine blew. Oh, we flew into a blizzard because we had to go. Oh, you got to go. We're like, flight. We made the blizzard. It was in New Jersey. The next day, we fly out after the game. Engine blows. We come around those old Midwest Express planes. We land, and Tony's up by us, and we're in the dark for like an hour. Nothing. And I look around, and I'm thinking, are players going to get pissed? Like, they've been sitting in this plane. It's dark. I look over Jamal McGlure. He's on his Xbox or he's playing. All of a sudden, Tony, I can't believe that they're not getting us off this plane. This is a plane that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar flew on. This is bullshit. I was like, I swear to God, he was going nuts. I'm like, this is great. Finally, somebody's going to snap here.
Well, he's used to flying on better charters. Yeah. Chicago, we flew in some great planes. The MGM Grand Air is like a hotel in the air. Oh, memories. Memories. Then when you go on another team, you see that everybody doesn't travel that way. you fly, what is it, a Midwest Express?
We had cookies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, we got fresh food. We had a chef on the plane that cooked the food for you. So there's a kitchen in the middle of the plane. He would be doing everything. You had parlors in the back where you could actually make beds out of and go to sleep. Everybody had a captain's chair. Everyone had a captain's chair. The next closest guy to you is from me to where Susan is. That's how the space in between, so you could actually stretch out. Awesome plane. Only 4 teams at that time flew that plane. It was the Lakers, the Celtics, us, and I want to say Portland, or not Portland. No, it might have been Seattle. But there was 4 teams that flew that. And the Bulls, my first year, we used to come through O'Hare, the actual catch planes out of O'Hare in my first year. And I used to have to get all the bags. The rookies always had to get the bags.
Chicken.
And the chicken. Yeah, that's a long story. And, but we used to have to fly commercials. So the next day, say we flew into Atlanta and then we played Atlanta, we couldn't leave that night. So you had to catch the first plane out at 6 a.m. or whatever it was out the next morning to go to, let's say, Boston. Okay. So you get to the airport, they get all the tickets. There might be a problem. Everybody might not be able to get on the plane. So they had a seniority list. First of all the starters got to go. The starters, they take the 5 starters and the coach, and then they would go on the first plane to go to the first destination. The rest of us would catch the next plane out. It was crazy.
Wow.
And then, yeah, that tells you where we ranked. If you were a bench player, it tells you how important you were to the team. You catch the second or third flight. But
connecting.
But after that first year, Detroit, LA, Boston were the only ones that had charter planes, and in Portland. And they did a study on, how many games they were winning doing it that way, because everybody else flew charter. And the thing I liked about charter, because you get to stay in the city. So if you were in a cool city, you got to stay the night. If you were in LA, you got to stay in LA an extra night. But when you got the charter, you was gone. You got that same day. Then you go to a city like,
no. You don't have to say it.
That's not so fun.
You're still running for Rockford.
Yeah.
No, he loves Rockford.
Yeah, I love Rockford. They don't talk about Rockford, man.
I know you coached there.
Yeah, I love Rockford. Listen, Rockford, if you listen to me, I love you. Don't listen to John Stinger. He's been throwing some stingers at Rockford. I've defended Rock City. Rock City, I love you. I had some of the best times in Rockford. My people in Rockford love me.
Whispers, you got a favorite Toni Kukoc story?
No.
For me, it was the game 1998 Eastern Conference Finals against Indiana. They were up against it. The Bulls were. They were down in the fourth quarter.
Give me the ball game. Give me the ball.
He was the guy that really carried him through. He had big shots and then Michael at the end took over, but the starters were not playing that well, and it was up to Toni Kukoc to kind of save the day. And he was big in those series against Utah as well.
Well, that was kind of like when we were in Portland series. The starters sucked. We came out there to save their ass, down 16. We go out there and we come back, and next thing you know, they bring Michael in. We cut it down to 3. Here comes Michael, gets all the credit in the last dance. They don't show us in the last dance coming back. It was only MJ scoring. They make it seem like MJ was the one that brought us back in that game. And I was sitting there looking. We were all laughing about it. I was like, look, they don't give us no credit whatsoever. It's like MJ did it all. So, but it was, the last dance was all about him anyway. So.
Yeah, when you check out all the episodes for Gimme the Hot Sauce, we visited with Bobby Hansen, Stacey's teammate from that 1992 championship team. We went over that in great detail. The furious comeback and celebrating, dancing on the scores table.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Get him out of there. Get his ass out of there. That was great. See, Bobby wasn't supposed to say that. That was supposed to be on the down low for real.
That was great, though.
Yeah, America.
You never know what you're going to hear on Gimme the Hot Sauce.
America, I know you didn't hear that episode, but you need to go back and listen to that episode.
Check it out, Bobby Hansen.
It was a hilarious episode.
And check out that episode back when I predicted Jokic and Whispers.
People know. No one wants
too much work to try to find that.
It's I think episode 7.
Oh my God!
But anyway, congratulations to the Hall of Fame class of 2021. The other guy I was trying to think of that I forgot was Paul Pierce. So I know it's a Boston guy. So
Greg Popovich,
who lost his job recently at ESPN.
Hey, it's worth it.
What?
On the down low, huh?
It's worth it, hey man.
It was entertaining.
He went out like a champ.
He went out on top.
He went out on top, exactly.
Leave it to Whispers to bring us to the end of another episode. Yeah, boy, Timmy.
Way to go. He's alive, America.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 29 of Gimme the Hot Sauce and for watching on YouTube. Remember, you can always watch the show. You can see all the fun here on YouTube. And, of course, we're on all your favorite podcast carriers. Stacey, time to bring the curtain down on 29.
Drive home safely, Chicago.
Finishing on top.
Woo! Sriracha.